Welcome to Deadball TV, guys. I got another transfer video for you all today. This time we're going to be ranking on a hype tier list some of the biggest Asian transfers that just happened in the January window. I already did a similar video for CONCACAF that's out now on the channel. If you want to see one for CONMEBOL or for CAF, let me know down below in the comments. Before I get into this list, if you guys like videos about Asian football, make sure you hit subscribe. This is probably one of the best channels on YouTube for Asian footy content. Drop a like on the video and let me know which move are you the most hyped for. First name on the list here is Australian goalkeeper Matthew Ryan, who signed to Lens in Ligue 1 for $800K. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. These guys just sold Husanov for 50 M's, and now they're bringing in a starting goalkeeper for less than 1 million. Insane level accounting there. S-tier accounting from the ownership at Lens. I'm going to go B on the hype tier list here, and I think it's very simple. Matthew Ryan is fighting Gauchi for the starting goalkeeper position at the Socceroos. He was at AS Roma, barely sniffed the pitch. Now he's gone to Lens, and he's been the starter 2 out of 2 games. And the transfer fee was $800K. How is this not a layup B tier? I mean, the only reason it's not A or S is because of his age. That's the only reason. Like, Matthew Ryan's not getting better as goalkeeper, but he will give Lens very good quality between the sticks, and you want your starting goalkeeper, as Australia make a push to qualify, because Group C is chaos. Video coming out about that. Hit subscribe. You want him to get minutes. So I think this is an easy B on the tier list here. Next up, Kyogo Furuhashi from Celtic to Rennes. And Rennes, I'm not sure, I think it's Rennes, had an absolutely mental January transfer window. If you guys look at some of the signings they made, I mean, they basically signed like a new team, and that's probably because they're in 17th in Ligue 1 right now, and they're really trying to not go down. Anyways, Furuhashi from Celtic to Ligue 1. He came out, said he was ready for a new challenge. Well, this is going to be a challenge, bro, because you're going from Celtic, the most stacked team in Scotland, to a very underperforming French side. I'm going to go B on the hype tier list here, and I think this is going to be controversial. And that's okay. This is Deadball TV. I'm completely used to controversy at this point. The biggest concern for me is that Furuhashi is not a very clinical striker, and he got more chances than you could ever ask for while being the 9 for Celtic. And now he's going to Rennes, and he's not going to get the same volume, and he's going to really have to sharpen up his finishing, and that leaves me a bit concerned. Like, I think there's doubt in this transfer. I seriously do doubt if he's going to ball out like that. Like, I don't think he's going to be a flop, but this is a big step, and I think there's a reason. As much as Moriyasu gets hate for not calling him to Japan, I think there's a reason for that, and I'm just curious to see what happens here, because he's going to be fighting for minutes, and it's going to be a way tougher league defensively than anything he's ever seen before. So I think a B is fair. Next up, we have another Australian, Nestory Irakunda, who went to Grasshopper, and I'm going straight B. I can't go A because, I don't know, I think it's a 6-month loan, and the fact that he's going from Bayern Munich 2 to Grasshopper, it's not like blowing my socks off, you know what I'm saying? But I think the most important thing for Nestory Irakunda is minutes, and he's played in every single game, all 5 of them, since he made the move, and he's bagged a couple assists in back-to-back games. And if you're Australian, that's all you want. You just want your star boy getting minutes. You know, similar to your starting goalkeeper, Matt Ryan, you don't want him on the bench. There's no point in having Irakunda buried at Bayern Munich 2 or just doing, like, you know, advanced German training sessions. As great as those are, you want him getting competitive matches. I don't think there's any risk of a permanent buy, and maybe even saying that's a bit disrespectful. But unless Grasshopper have like millions of dollars underneath the sofa, he's going to be returning to Bayern Munich, and then a future decision will be made. So for the time being, I think it's fantastic because he's playing and getting on the score sheet. What more could you ask for? Next up, Moussa Al-Samari, who also went to Rennes from Montpellier. I'm going to be a little biased here, and I'm going to say A, because I think Al-Samari is one of those players, due to where he's from, you know, check out the crest on my shirt right now, it is so easy to come back to the Middle East. Like, it would have been so freaking easy to just take some big money move back to Saudi Arabia or the UAE League or the Qatari Stars League. And he didn't do that. And that's despite being pretty damn disappointing in Montpellier this season. But he's made the move, a lateral move, despite his dip in form at his age. I think that's a win, man. And I think he started his first game for Rennes in Ligue 1. So I love it. I would have been really disappointed if I had seen him go back to the Middle East, right? Because I think fellow Jordanians, Al Naimat and Ali Olawan, they're not at clubs that, what should I say, flatter their level. I think both of them are kind of playing down a little bit, and I would have hated for Al Tamari to do the same. So me personally, I think it's an A on the hype tier list. Next up, who do we have next here? Yang Min-hyuk, the young South Korean winger who made the move from the K-League to my Tottenham Hotspur. I'm going A on the hype list because it's my club, so I'm a little biased against it. And I think he's a really exciting player. Now, he was immediately loaned out to QPR, where I think he got an assist yesterday or 2 days ago. I think that was the right decision from Spurs because this kid, very bright future, nowhere near ready for the Premier League. We're not having Son regen talks here on Dead Ball TV. That's absolutely ludicrous. But he is a very exciting player. And I think for the money, I think it's fine. I think it's actually really encouraging because he's not going to have the pressure to come in and ball out. And much like some of our other signings, Archie Gray, Bergvall, he's not getting thrown to the Wolves. He's not having to play Liverpool in the FA Cup semifinal. You know what I'm saying? So, or Carabao Cup semifinal. So I think it's super hype. And I think how his move was treated by Spurs and QPR, I think it's great. Next up, we have Ali Jassim. Now, this one's a little controversial. I'm going to go C. He's joining Almere City in the Eredivisie from Como on a loan. Now, I don't like how this looks. To me, being a pessimist and looking at how Como operate in the transfer market, this kind of feels like a, hey, bro, you got 6 months to do something or you're out. That's what this feels like to me. And Ali Jassim, this is an extremely important player for the Iraqi national team, second only to Ayman Hussein, who is also really, really struggling in Qatar to get any minutes or any goals. I mean, that guy warrants a separate video in itself, how he plays for national team versus club. Ali Jassim is not somebody that Iraq can afford to have rotting on the bench, and he's made the move to Almere City, and he has not played at all in the first 2 games. I'm panicking. Personally, I'm panicking. If he doesn't break in at this club, good Lord. I mean, he's back to the Middle East like that. I mean, that's just the state of things, for players. Unfortunately, in the AFC, you don't really get a lot of chances. You kind of need to come good, and you need to come good fast, especially with an aggressive ownership like Como. They will sell you so quick. Let me just look at their transfer window business. It's been insane. So it's not hype at all to go to Almere City. And it's also not hype that he's not playing. The Como move was hype. This isn't hype. I think C is fair. All right, next up we have Keisuke Goto, young Japanese player from the J2. I believe they were in J2. They might have been promoted. Excuse me if I'm incorrect about that. To Anderlecht in Belgium. I'm going A, bro. I think this move is super hype. I don't know what the transfer fee was. I should have looked that up beforehand, so I apologize. But this is a guy that has zero relevance currently to the Japanese national team. He does not sniff the senior team. However, for him to make the move from J2 to Belgium, and I think his J2 performances were solid, promising for a 19-year-old, but it's not like he's walking out of here with, 25 goals in J2 and everybody's fighting for his signature. Super, super high ceiling, low expectations, low pressure. Again, because he doesn't have that national team spotlight on him at all, I would argue. I don't really know how many Japanese fans are like, God, if Keisuke Goto doesn't come good, I mean, fraud. Nobody's really saying that. And when you go to Anderlecht at 19, they're so good at developing players. And I say this all the time, the club is good. Anderlecht is a very good team. We need to stop acting like these guys are farmers and goat herders and whatever, candle wax makers. These guys are good. They're incredibly good at developing talent. So it's a dream destination for Goto. I'm going to bet the transfer fee wasn't that much. Totally hype, in my opinion. Next up, Mircea Doski, another Iraqi who signed to Victoria Pilsen. I'm going to go C. I think I went B on my Instagram tier list. Follow us on there, link in the description. The more I think about it, though, this isn't a hype move, is it? Like, he was already in the Czech league, albeit he's transferred to a better team, a team that should challenge for the league title every single time. In that respect, it's hype. But is that enough for me to like fangirl over the move? Not at all. And I guess Victoria Pilsen are in Europe, but they're in the knockouts, like the elimination round of Europe before actually advancing to the round of 16 or to the quarterfinals. And they lost the first leg 1-0 on aggregate. So I'm not really sure. And he's barely played since he went over. So I don't know. Maybe I'm hating a little bit. I mean, it looks like I don't like Iraq because I have 2 Iraqis in the C tier of the hype list. But I don't think either of these moves are that hype. I have to be honest about that. Dolski, I like him a lot. He's definitely a top 4 player for the Iraqi national team. Again, very important. But if he goes to Pilsen and doesn't play, it was all for nothing. So I will change my opinion on this when I see him break into the squad more. Next up, we have Oday Dabag, who joined Aberdeen on a loan. I'm going to go C on the hype list here as well. Dabag is an interesting player. I think this is much more of a moral victory for Palestine than it is like a massive dub for Asian football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really hope he pans out. I think Dabag has some really good qualities, but he's also a seriously unclinical striker, and it's kind of flopped for Palestine in the qualifiers so far. So again, it's not really a move that I'm going to be writing a 20-page article about. I hope he does well. I think he's good enough to play in Scotland for sure. I think Aberdeen is good enough relative to the other clubs for him to get ample opportunities, but I don't think it's very hype. Moving on, Joel Kojos, the Kyrgyzstan striker who signed for Istiklal. I'm going to go C here as well. I know some people were saying that it's a D move to me on Twitter. I don't really think so, man. I think this is hype. I think Kojo has glowed up in the past 12 months, and he's made a move to a historic Iranian club. It's not gonna blow your socks off, right? It's not Ryan Kent potentially going to Persepolis or whatever. You know, that's like a massive signing for the Iranian league, but I still think getting Joe Kojo in there, I mean, this is a guy who's up to 4 goals in round 3 of qualifying, 3 goals, something like that, maybe 6 in round 2 and 3 combined. Like, this is a good player, and I don't know what the transfer fee was. Was it $300K, something like that? $300K. I mean, come on, man. You're just hating if you think this is a D. Oh, I have Dabag on here twice. That's hilarious. So good that I'm going to put him on a C again. Okay. Now we got to the elephant in the room, or should I say the white wolf in the room. Abdulkadir Husanov signing from Lens to Manchester City. I mean, this is a hype tier list, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an S. Like, I don't know why he got so much hate for his debut against Chelsea, where, yeah, it was pretty rough. I don't know why we're trying to define players by a 15-minute segment of their entire playing career. Like, that just nullifies everything he's done at the Asian Cup, at U20 Asian Cups, for Lens, being in the Ligue 1 team of the season. But I think the harsh winds have passed, and he just played the full 90. Manchester City just stomped Newcastle 4-0. Scored a goal off his face in the cup, you know what I'm saying? He's back. That's basically what I'm saying. I mean, it's immense. If we're talking hype, it's probably the second biggest transfer involving an Asian player in the last 4 years. Like, I would still say that Kim Min-jae to Bayern was probably more hype. You can have a debate about that. Now, I would have put both of them as S tier. Clearly, I just put Husanov as an S tier. And I don't really know why I'm even talking about this. I feel like I'm dragging the move for no reason. It's a great move. It's historic for Uzbek football. I'm praying Fezulayev moves out of Moscow soon and makes a similar move. I mean, it's the sky is the limit right now for the steppe countries, and I could not be happier for Husanov, even though I do not like Manchester City as an institution. Next up, Hayden Matthews to Portsmouth for $1.5 million. I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'm going to go B for this one. I think it's a great move to have a young Australian center back make a low money move to Portsmouth, which is a good league, better than the A-League, and he's already getting starts. He started against Oxford yesterday. Like, that's great, man. If you're an Australian, how could you not be hype about this? Now, I've only seen him play for Australia once. Did he play 2 games? I think he might have played both games in the window. Like, I'm not going to say it's a A because it's Portsmouth. If he signed for like Southampton for 1.5 mil, I probably would have gone A. Or if he had signed for like FC Basel or something, I probably would have gone A. I just think Portsmouth, when you go to some of those like more obscure championship and kind of like League One sides, there's a higher risk of getting lost. And the championship is so competitive and ruthless that it's kind of kill or be killed a little bit more than if he had gone to a FC Basel, for example. But I think it's amazing. I mean, Australians, let me know how you feel about this move. I think it's great. Next up, Sandy Walsh to Yokohama Marinos. I'm going to go C tier, man. I mean, I think it's pretty cool that we're getting an Indonesian going to the J League, which is a really good league. I'm starting to, the J League is more and more becoming this league where, or at least I hope that it becomes this league where we see more Thai players break out, more Australian players go and ball out, Indonesians, Malaysians, that would be incredible. But Sandy Walsh to Yokohama, I mean, again, I think it's cool. He was in Europe, and now he's going to Japan, so there's a bit of like a downgrade there, but Yokohama are a good team. I don't know what the transfer fee was for. I don't know if the J League releases public transfer fees, actually, now that I think about it, but regardless, pretty cool to see one of the, dare I say, faces of the Indonesian national team. I think he's a top 4 face for the team, probably beneath Marcelino, Idzis, and Martin Pais. I think Sandy Walsh is a beloved figure there, so I'm going to go C. And lastly, Jason Garia signing to, I need to look this up, Albirex Niigata in the J League. Bro, I'm going C, borderline B. I just love Jason Garia as a player. I think the fact that he's 31 years old and is finally getting clout is such a good story. I think he was so good against Japan in the qualifiers. He's been really strong in both games that I've seen. And what a move. I think going to the J League is better than the A League. I think for his age, it was probably one of the better moves that he could have made. Like, let's be honest, no European club is going to buy a 31-year-old Australian center back, which is kind of unfair and sucks, but that's the way of the world. I think it's a banger move, man. Like, again, the only reason I'm not going B or A is just because of age, because he didn't go to like Kawasaki Frontale or a club like that. So that is the video, guys. That is how I've ranked these players in terms of the most hype transfers. Looking at this, I have to note kind of a dub for Australia this past window. I mean, there's some pretty big, exciting moves here. I feel like Australians should be kind of hyped right now. Similarly, I think Japan had some great moves. Great to see Musa Altamari stay in Europe. Husnov to Man City. I mean, what needs to be said about the gravity of that transfer? Just absolutely insane. Even Palestine get minor dubs. Kyrgyzstan get minor dubs. It was a great window, I will say, for Asia overall. If there's any hype ranking that you guys disagree with, you think I was overrating a move or underrating a move, let me know down below in the comments. Again, if you like videos about Asian football, make sure you subscribe because I drop hours of content every single international break about Asian qualifiers. And we are very, very close to the March games just around the corner. I'm going to do group by group predictions and analysis, reactions, live streams, all that. So don't miss that. Check me out on social media. Links in the description. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one.